Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is the first video of mine that you are seeing. And if you are new here, my name is Julia Kelsey. I'm 25 years old. I live in Orlando, Florida, and I have a budgeting and money management coaching business that I originally started over on Instagram, but have recently moved over to YouTube as well. And this is where I show and share with others that budgeting and money management can be simple and actually enjoyable, and help others get to the place where they are easily accomplishing their financial goals while still being able to live a life that they enjoy. So today's video is going to be another budget with me, this time for the month of May, and I've done a bunch of these already since the beginning of the year, but this is just where I show you what my plan is for the month budget wise. I show you what my expected expenses are, my expected income, and how I'm allocating that expected income among savings goals, debt payoff, sinking funds, all of that. And like always, I will be showing you my budgeting spreadsheet today, and if you like this spreadsheet and think it might work for you, I do sell them individually on my website for just $10, and that includes the budgeting template I'll show you today, as well as the summaries that I show you in my budget recaps, as well as a bunch of other trackers. So if you're interested in that, I will leave the link below, and my spreadsheets and templates are always included in any of my coaching packages as well. So now let's get started and see what I have planned for the month of May. So as always, we will start with my income, and I have the different components blocked out for privacy, but as a whole, I expect to have $4,350 come in as income in the month of May. So now I'll go through and show you how I plan to spend those dollars. So we will start with my expenses, and specifically my fixed expenses. So these are like my bills, my recurring bills that pop up every month, and for the most part I know exactly how much they're going to be and when they're going to come out. So I'll run through these pretty quickly because they are fairly similar to my previous budget with me. So the first one is my rent. That's its normal $1,585, and I do live in a luxury apartment in downtown Orlando, so this might be a bit on the higher side, but also I think very appropriate for the area and the building that I live in. And then the next one is my car payment, so that's just $303 every month. Next is my Wi-Fi, so I pay $34.99 for that. And then I have two fitness bills. So the first one is just a basic membership at a Crunch gym, so that's $10.60. And then I also have an Orange Theory fitness membership. I just have the lowest tier membership, the basic one where you get 4 classes a month, so that's just $69 a month. And then the next one is a couple of business subscriptions. So this includes my monthly website renewal and then also a Canva subscription. So that comes to basically $59. A couple more subscriptions after that. My Amazon Music is $5.65. My Hulu, which is basically my cable, I have the live version of this, so this replaces any other streaming services or cable, and that is basically $80. And then iTunes, which is just like additional storage on my phone for photos and videos and stuff like that, so that's $2.99. The next two do vary just a little bit because they are based on my usage, but I do have a really good estimate at this point of what these are going to be, and I know that they will still happen every single month, so that's why I consider them a fixed expense. The first one being utilities, so this is the one that definitely fluctuates the most, but I'm estimating about $189 to come out in May, so that's my estimate. And then the next one is insurance, so this is mostly my car insurance, but then also $12.50 of this is renter's insurance, and I expect that to be $124.69 in May. And then moving on to my variable expenses, so these are going to be the ones that fluctuate a lot more month per month and are the categories where you'll be doing most of your daily spending. So my first one is eating out. I do like to eat out quite a bit relative to some, so I do budget for that, but I do also keep a really close eye on this category. So in May, I'm doing what I have been doing for the past couple of months, which is $40 a week. So there's 4 weeks in May, so that's going to be $160, which is the same budget that I had in February. So I definitely think that this will be realistic for the month. And then the next one is my auto category. This is mainly gas. I do also include tolls if I have to pay them in here, but a large majority of this is gas. And if you've seen a couple of my latest budget with me, you know I've been struggling with this category, as probably many people are, just because gas prices keep going up and they're maybe a little bit unpredictable. And then also in my case, I've been driving a lot more than I have been at the beginning of the year and end of last year. So just playing around with how much am I actually driving and also the increase in prices, it's been interesting to figure out this budget. But I do think a good budget for me is $35 a week, at least right now. I did that in April and it was actually really sustainable. I kind of threw a wrench in it because I ended up driving home for Easter, and obviously that's out of the ordinary driving, but just for my day-to-day driving, I think $35 is a good amount as of right now. So I'm going to do the same thing again in May, $35 a week, so that would be $140. However, I am planning on driving home again because I'm going to one of my cousin's weddings, so this time I'm factoring that in ahead of time because I know it's coming up. So I'm going to do the $35 a week, which would be the $140, plus I'm doing an extra $50, so that makes my entire budget for the month $190. So hopefully I'll be able to stay somewhere around there in the month of May. And then the next category is my groceries, and this includes my HelloFresh subscription as well as just regular grocery trips. I do enjoy getting HelloFresh just because it's a lot easier to cook for one person, and I don't necessarily get a box every week. I usually do 2 to 3, usually closer to 3 boxes a week, so that's included here. And then usually every other week grocery trips for like breakfast food, Diet Coke, stuff like that. So I've been doing for the past couple of months a budget of $300, and that seems to be really working. That gets me my 3 HelloFresh boxes and then a good amount for grocery shopping. It is a little bit tight, I have to keep an eye on it, but definitely doable. So I'm going to continue doing that again in May. And then the last item here is just my miscellaneous category. So this is really going to encompass anything that doesn't fall within those other 3. So just those little expenses that pop up throughout the month. And I just normally do $50 a month in this category, and I'm doing that again in May. And then I do have one other line item here, which is my checking account cushion. And this is just money sitting in my checking account in case bills come out higher than expected, or I have something unexpected come up and I need to use my debit card really quick. And I already have a pretty decent buffer in this area, so I don't necessarily budget to put anything towards this every month. But if I have something left over at the end of the month that is just a couple dollars, I sometimes will stick it here. So that's mainly what's happening in this category at this point. I'm not budgeting to put anything here. So in total for my variable and my fixed expenses, I expect to spend $3,163 in the month of May. So now let's move on to my sinking funds. And as a reminder, sinking funds are like mini savings accounts where you're setting aside money every month for a particular larger purchase or maybe an unexpected expense that you know will happen at some point, you just might not know when. And my sinking funds do look just slightly different than they have in the past couple of months, so let's take a look at it. And this is a really good example of how things might change when your priorities change, even if it's just a month or two. So you can see I'm prioritizing a couple things that I haven't been prioritizing through the beginning of the year, but since I have an event coming up soon that's going to require me to spend in these areas, I'm switching things up a little bit, prioritizing them instead, and then I'll just go back to what I was doing before or whatever else I need to prioritize after the event is over and after I've saved and spent the money that I need to. And that category that I'm now prioritizing is actually the first one, so my clothes/beauty fund. And this is pretty straightforward. It's just any clothing, beauty, skincare, hair care, anything like that would fall under this category. And I haven't been doing much in this category. I've really just been doing what's been left over from all the other categories throughout the beginning of the month. However, like I mentioned before, I have that wedding coming up, and I know I'm going to want to buy a dress and maybe even some like new makeup and stuff like that. So I want to make sure I have a good buffer going into May when I'm going to be spending that money. And I know that this category is already either negative or really close to negative, so I don't have much to begin with. So that's why I'm doing quite a bit more than what I normally do. So I'm doing $75 in the month of May. And then the next one is my fun category, and this is another one that I haven't been prioritizing. And as of right now in May, I'm going to keep it the same as what it's been, which is $15. And I kind of debated maybe increasing this one as well in case there is something fun that I want to spend on at the wedding or while I'm at home. But between increasing the clothes/beauty and then also increasing Nico's, which I'll show you in a second, there wasn't too much left over, and I know that those expenses are going to happen, and I'm not quite sure about the fun spending. So I'm going to keep it at 15 for now, and then I always can reevaluate at the end of the month if I happen to spend anything in this category. So for right now, $15 in May. And then the next one is just holiday/gifts. This is mainly my Christmas budget. I'm hoping to have $600 saved by Christmas to spend on Christmas gifts. So that's the main goal within this fund. And then I also might spend this on like birthday gifts or stuff like that throughout the year. So I just do $50 a month to get me to that goal of $600. And then if I do end up spending on like other gifts, I'll make sure to replenish that throughout the year as well. And then the next one is just my household category, which I haven't been doing anything in 2022. This is mainly for just like decor, blankets, candles, stuff like that. And I just haven't had a need to spend that money right now, so I'm not allocating anything in May again. So this is just $0. And then the next one is Nico's sinking fund. This is anything that Nico needs, prescriptions, vet visits, toys, food, anything like that would fall under this category. And I usually do like 75 to 85 in this category, and that makes sure that I have enough for all of his routine spending. But I am upping that, like I mentioned before, in May. I'm upping it to 100, and that is because I'm going to have to pay to board him while I'm at that wedding. So I'm upping this a little bit to make sure I have a buffer going in. And even with that increase, this category still might end up going negative, which is totally fine. I'll be able to counteract that in the following month, but I want to make sure I have as much of a buffer as possible going in. So 100 for May. The next one is just my car maintenance fund. A couple months ago, I had to spend a little bit out of this for renewing my tags. So I'm just slowly replenishing this back up to the 200 buffer that I like to have in there. So I'm just doing $10 in May. And kind of the same thing with medical. I don't have any expected spending coming up in this. This is mainly just a buffer in case I need to like go to urgent care or something like that, and also for like prescriptions like my contacts. So I'm just kind of building this up as I go. I'm not saving aggressively for anything, so I'm just doing $10 a month in this category as well. And then the next category is my tech category, which I've also talked about a lot, but this used to be a category where I would kind of save money for in case my phone or my computer broke and stuff like that. However, at the end of 2021, I used it to purchase the camera that I'm filming on now. However, that made the sinking fund quite negative, so I had used a little bit of my emergency fund to bring that sinking fund back up to positive at the beginning of the year. So now any money that I put in this sinking fund is going straight back to that emergency fund to replenish the amount that I took. So really not too much going on here, and in May, unfortunately, I'm not putting anything towards this, which is not entirely unexpected because, again, I am prioritizing those other things. So if I happen to have anything left over, I could put it here, but also I might put it towards my student loans, so not much going on here in May. And then the last two are just my yearly bills, so bills that come out every year instead of every month, but I still set aside money for them every month to make sure I have the entire amount ready to go when those expenses come out instead of having to save over $100 in one single month. So the first one is Amazon Prime, and I just do $10 a month for that. And then the second one is my Crunch, so like my gym's yearly renewal, and I just do $5 a month for that. So as a total, I am putting $275 towards a sinking fund, and this is definitely the biggest chunk that I've put towards sinking fund since the beginning of the year, which is good because if you watch any of my financial goal update videos, you know I'm actually kind of behind on this goal, which I was okay with because paying off my student loans is my priority, but also I want to make sure that I have these areas fully funded, so I'm not bringing too many of them negative or causing any problems elsewhere. So it's good that I'm getting a good chunk put aside, especially for the increase in spending that I expect to happen in May. And then the next section is my savings section, and I only really have one goal here, which is really almost another debt item. This is my student loans fund, and the way that I use this is it's basically a savings account where if I have like $10, $15, $20 left over in a month, I will put it in this sinking fund and I will accumulate more and more money over a couple of months, and then once I have a larger amount, I will use that money to make extra payments towards my student loans. Unfortunately, I don't have anything going towards this in May. I definitely could have put even like $25 in this if I hadn't put so much towards my sinking funds, but like I said, I don't want to bring too many of those categories negative and then just have to put more in it in the next couple of months, so might as well get it over with now, and then I can put as much as possible in this savings account in the next couple of months. And also, if I have anything left over at the end of the month, if I don't end up spending as much as I think, then I obviously will put it here. This will be the first place that it goes. And then the next section is just my debt section, and again, the only item here is a debt item, which is my minimum payment, so just my $911, which is my normal monthly minimum payment for my student loans. And then that brings us to the final section, which is just the overview section, and this is where I can see if all of the income I have coming in, if I've given each of those dollars a job. Because remember, we are doing a zero-based budget, so every dollar coming in needs to go out somewhere, whether it's spending or towards a financial goal. So here we can see it's green and a zero, so I know that I've accounted for every single one of my dollars. And that is my entire budget for the month of May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can see more videos like this from me. Also, go over and follow me on Instagram so you can see more content from me in between YouTube videos. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.